Hi, Shamir. How are you? Just waiting for everyone to come in. Hi, Rajni. Lovely to see you or to have you here. How are you? Do either of you have questions for me, Shamir and Rajni? Hi, Pat. How are you? Hi, Ellie. Everyone's coming in now. That's wonderful. If any of you have any questions for me, just post them. Great that you've joined us, Rajni. Do you have any questions for me, any of you? I'm going to start in a couple of minutes. Hi, Ellie. Okay, I'm going to get going and everybody else can catch up. Essentially, the questions I posed on the topic of joy are about how to be happy no matter what, how challenges and sorrow prepare us for endless joy, how we can access joy easily and effortlessly without suppressing or denying the so-called negative or lower vibrational emotions that is part and parcel of our human experience. How to not take yourself and life too seriously and yet be devoted to your greatest self, be in your power, and consciously create what matters greatly to you in alignment with your soul, purpose, or calling. Well, firstly, we've had quite a year, an 11 master year. And it's now December 20th, 5 more days to Christmas and 11 more days to New Year's. And in an 11 master year, what it means is that we go through great challenges or challenges of some sort. And the idea is for us to go beyond those challenges and rise. They're preparing us for what's ahead. They're preparing us to be the very best we can possibly be. And what would be our very best? Our greatest self, our true self, our true power can only be coming from our soul, can only be coming from the divinity that we are, from the consciousness or the spirit that we are. How do you feel about that? Is life in is your life occurring in such a way that you are primarily identified with your human self? And being your soul, being consciousness is too far away, or too foreign, or even too far-fetched? Well, I've written for so many years now about stepping into our soul, stepping into consciousness, about coming from soul, about being our soul self. And how that leads to us connecting with and being the love that we are. And then therefore expressing the joy that would spontaneously flow through. But when I was preparing to do this today, I thought about it, I made some notes, I looked at what I'd written before, and I was still looking for something else that I hadn't quite said before. Or at least to put it in a different way. And one day I woke up early in the morning, and the words that came to me were, "We are built to last." And then that made me smile, because it's obviously coming from within me. It's obviously coming from soul and consciousness. And I went back to sleep, and I didn't write it down, and normally I would forget it, but this time I didn't. Because it really, these words are meant to console you, console all of us. Because when we go through challenges, sometimes, we can move into despair. I was just speaking with someone who is very precious to me, and she's going through a lot of physical pain, and I asked her how she felt, and she said sometimes she, was just in despair, because the pain was so great, is so great. So the whole idea is, how do we transcend whatever challenges we have, be it physical, be it emotional, be it financial, be it spiritual, anything. How do we transcend that and be the joy that we are? There's no other way except to get in touch with the very invincibility that we are. And that is the love that we are. And as many of you know, I call it invincible love. Because it is not only a love that cannot be vanquished, it means we cannot be vanquished. And once you really, really know this, and where you embody this fact, then honestly, nothing can get us down for long. We cannot be very far from the joy that we are, because we are this love, because we are this invincible love, because we can never be vanquished. We cannot perish. And that is a fact. But to know it just from here, rather than embody it in every cell, That's a big difference. And hence, I do what I do. I also sometimes refer to myself as an invincibility catalyst. It means that I ignite this invincible love in you and support you to expand that self that cannot be vanquished, that self that is invincible, that self that is magnificent, that self that can do anything and everything, except that you would choose wisely what to do and what not to do. And you would choose based on the guidance that you receive from within. And when I say guidance, it is actually a very human way of putting it, because it's like the human still needs to be guided. But when you come into absolute alignment, it's no longer guidance. It's just the wisdom that you are. It is the higher intelligence that is you and that you can access at any moment. And even if you don't get messages, you don't get like exact, what is the word? Exact instructions as to what to do, as to what you, the human, needs to do. You will know, you will come to a place within yourself where you know, if you simply stay still for a while, whether it's for a few minutes, a few hours, a few days. And when I say stay still, it doesn't mean you don't do anything, but you maintain that quiet within you. And you will know. And when you can get to a place where you have this knowingness, then there is a sense of certainty that you would also have. And when you have that internal alignment, when you have that knowingness, then really there are no challenges, no external uncertainty that can get you down for very long at all. Humans long for and chase things that are outside of themselves. That is normal. That is what or how we have been programmed to be for centuries. But we are shifting into a totally different era. We are moving into a time when we are meant to be our soul selves, first and foremost, to be the divinity, the spirit that we are, the consciousness that we are, first and foremost. We are meant to be that vastness that is what we stem from. And the more we can move towards being that vastness, that greatness, that divinity, the more joyful we will be, no matter what. And really, I can assure you that we can all transcend anything. And we can consciously create what we want, except that we won't be wanting the same things as perhaps we did before. Your priorities will shift. Your desires will shift. Because you're being totally elevated. You're being your greatest self. You're being your most powerful self. You're being vastness itself. And when you're all of that, there is nothing that is wanting, in fact. And sometimes if we slip back into fear or worry or even concern, all we need to do is notice it. Recognize that we simply either being human or more precisely coming from an old programming. And then we can clear it. And I can show you how to do it very easily. So it's just you step back into your observer self. You step back and watch everything that's going on within you, how you yourself act or emote or behave. And you support yourself constantly to rise up, to be your greatest self. And then there is only joy, much of the time. If sadness comes up, if pain comes up, of pain of any kind, if hurt comes up, if frustration comes up, know that that is all part of your human experience. Do not suppress them, do not judge them. Recognize them, embrace them, feel them, and then let them go. The more you can embrace them, the more you can get past them, and the more quickly you can get past them as well. And then all the more you can be your greatest self, your most powerful, loving, and wiser self. And then really that's when true joy, you can experience true joy on a daily basis. You don't need to be traveling to be joyful. I mean, traveling is great. You know, I'm not saying that you can't do the things that trigger the joy in you. That's great too. I'm just talking about a different approach. The old approach doesn't last. I had a client who lives in England, and she had been going through a lot of stress and emotional pain for many years. And as is the human norm, she still resisted doing this work. And she thought, okay, she'll go on a holiday and she'll be fine after that. And she wasn't. It was nice for her while she was away. And then she comes back and the problems are still there. The issues are still there. Her emotions are still there. And so finally she came to me. And then she was gobsmacked at how miraculous, how quickly she could just let it all go. She could address the source of the issues and then not only have things that she had been holding for years, have them dissolve immediately, but it shifted her entire situation. It was a work situation. And because she shifted, the person she was having trouble with, who was actually her senior, the person got fired. Poor guy. We didn't work on him. We had no such intentions for him. We just worked on her. But I trust in the interconnectedness of everything. And I trust that he would have gone to a place which would have been better for him somehow, and in one way or another. And he wasn't just a big problem to her, but also to most of her colleagues as well. So isn't that amazing? We only worked on something that was within her. We traced it to somewhere in the childhood. We cleared that. She shifted. And he got fired. He left. And she had a couple of subordinates as well. And she had some problems with them, not quite as bad. And they were also moved sideways. Isn't that amazing? I think life can be so amazing when you know who you really are. And I'm not talking about the human self, I'm talking about the divinity that we are. And when we know who we are and we rise up to meet, if not totally be, who we really are, and then magic happens, miracles happen. How can we not be joyful? You know, it's like you found the secret of how to make things work. And it's not the usual approach about manifesting what you want, you know, getting what you want. That, without meaning to knock that whatsoever, but that's the old way of being. There's a totally new way of being. And a new way of being simply involves going within. Going within, not to meditate for hours, for days, months, years, thinking you're doing all the great things, you're being very spiritual. I'm not knocking at that either, but I'm making a point that it is time for all of us to get somewhere with this, and to get somewhere quickly. And the only way to get somewhere quickly with this path, with this, is this approach in the sense that we need to directly step into soul and spirit, or soul and consciousness. Hi, Christina. Glad you could join us, and Monica and Stephanie and yes. So it's like, what are you willing to give yourself? It's not enough to have the man or the woman, the husband or the wife, um, you know, the so-called picket fence and children, the high-flying career, the millions of dollars, all that is great. I'm not knocking any of that at all. I love people to be happy. I love when relationships work. I love when people have lots of money. I help them to get all of that because it matters to us as humans. I totally get that. It's not about being a nun or a monk and or praying in some ashram or cloistered up in some nunnery. But what I'm saying is that there is so much more to be had. So I'm asking you, what are you willing to give yourself? Are you willing to give you to yourself? Not the human self, not the human self that you're familiar with. Are you willing to be your soul? To be spirit, to be vastness, 24/7. And still be in this human form and still have a human life on earth. But are you willing to have the other first and foremost? If you're willing, what are you willing to commit to doing to be your soul and to be spirit and consciousness or vastness first and foremost? Take a deep breath in. You can close your eyes if you like. Think about that. Contemplate that. Then all the, I was going to say, then all the relationship, physical problems, money problems, any challenges, all challenges will disappear. Actually, they won't. But your response to all of this will be different. And then the more you're coming from soul, the more you're coming from spirit, the more everything begins to pan out. Because you're not perturbed by anything. It is when we consciously dissolve the fears, consciously dissolve all doubts, all inner conflict, and move towards great harmony, great peace, great love, and then, of course, the true joy. And then everything works. Does it make sense to you? It takes dedication. It takes consciously leaving the old, clearing the old and leaving it, not constantly going back to it. Every time fears come up, every time doubts come up, love yourself. Love your human self so completely and be there for your human self. Support your human self to rise up and be the soul that you are. And be the magnificence, the greatness, the everything that you are. I've shown several of you how to step into your soul and consciousness and be the divinity that you are. But the onus is on you to bring that into every moment of your daily human life, your daily life on earth. We're moving, we're all moving. We're moving to another level altogether. And it's a quantum jump. Are you ready? Are you ready to jump? You know, ask yourself, check inside. Yes, Rajni, that's correct. So we need to step out of the so-called matrix. Because no matter how much we realize it or not, how aware we are of this or not, we are all moving towards living on New Earth. Energetically, it's here since 2012. But there are different dimensions on the planet. It's a multi-dimensional New Earth. And you can choose which dimension you want to live in. If you're happy, stay where you are. If you're not, step up. Step out of the old earth, the third dimension, and go higher. It's as simple as that. So the journey home is really back into ourselves. And true joy is found there. Your river of bliss is right there, inside. And it cannot be only when you are in meditation. It starts there, when you close your eyes, when you're accessing your soul. Instant bliss. I've seen with my beloved clients. Instant bliss, instant peace, instant clarity. Now the trick is to bring that into your everyday world. Bring that strength, that soul power, that divine clarity, and live it. The trick too is to not get so wrapped up with our earthly challenges. They're there. They're there for a reason. They're there actually to support us to go higher. Every time you go through challenges and you're feeling all the emotions and you're being your human self, which is all part of the experience, which is all part of what it's meant to be. But you don't want to keep doing the same thing. You want to do something different. Right? Aren't you tired yet? Aren't you tired of all the dramas that go on? You know? And even when you are minding your own business or you are being conscious and then other people come with their stuff, well, they're still reflections of our old programmings, the old programmings we're carrying, and it's okay. It's okay up to a point. It's okay if you notice it, if you recognize it, if you understand what's really going on, and without blame, without judgment of yourself or others, you just say, okay, no more. It's the end. I'm not playing this game anymore. And you clear the old programmings, you let them go. And this is where I can greatly help you. Having been as human as you are, going through as many human experiences as you do, if not more. If we're going to lead, we have to experience the challenges firsthand and then show others based on our own experiences and learned wisdom, how we can easily go through it all, go beyond them all, more easily than perhaps we've had it for ourselves. And that's the joy of it as well, you know? I mean, if as a soul I come here to do this work, then it's okay. Everything is okay. The hurts, the pain, and all that. It's superficial. What's real is what's inside. The power, the true joy, the true love, the true magnificence, everything. And then we can together create and live on heaven on earth. Would you like that? There are a couple of other things, that where I made notes here, and I'll just briefly mention them. It's like being in the present moment, being grateful, being simple, being non-attached to outcome. The more we hold on to ideas or of how, we want things to be, the unhappier we make ourselves. The more we hold on to anger or anxiety or worry or whatever, we're not free. And we need, let me rephrase it, freedom is a condition of happiness, true happiness. You have to be free of all this. You can be very clear and unwavering about what you want. That's good. And then you do everything to line up with what you want, and then you let it all go. Because your happiness is not dependent on these outcomes. The more attached we are to these outcomes, the more we're giving our power away to that particular outcome. And if there are people involved with that outcome, people you cannot have any control over, mostly we can't anyway, then you've lost your freedom. You're no longer free. You also no longer in your power. It's all dependent on something outside of you. You know, we can want XYZ, even our so-called soul calling or soul purpose. You know, for me, while it means the world to me, would I be happy if none of what I think I came here to do materializes? I would probably sit on the beach for a long while and take it from day to day. And then probably my own soul would get me going again anyway. Because in every moment we can create. There is nothing stopping us except any lack or limitations that may be still in our fear and ego-based mind. So the idea is to transcend the mind. The idea is to come from heart, to come from soul, to come from spirit, to come from the vastness that we are. And then, honestly, you can have your joy flowing forth from you. You may, in the process of rising up, have, a period of pressure or challenge, however long or short it may be, where you're not so happy. But you can transcend that. And the more you let go of what you attach to, the happier you can be. Without having to let go completely of what matters to you. I'm not asking you to do that. The paradox or the irony is the more not detached, unattached, non-attached you are to something, the more room and space you give for it to occur for you the way you want it, or even more, even in a far greater way than you could have possibly dreamt, or that you ever dreamt of. And with all of this, one way of getting there, other than directly stepping into soul and consciousness and being more and more of that, is to truly love and honor yourself more and more. Not in a narcissistic way, but where you're saying yes to yourself, where you're not dishonoring yourself. And you don't have to dishonor other people in the process of honoring yourself. Saying no to somebody is not dishonoring them. You only have to be clear as to whether you're coming from ego and fear, or from a purity of intent and from love. The more we can do this, the more we expand the love and the divinity that we are. And the more we do that, the freer we are, the more everything falls into place. And en route, the idea is to be simple and happy. When you can be happy with very little, you're not only wealthy beyond measure, you're powerful beyond measure. Because when we chase anything too much, we give our power away to that very thing that we chase. We're left wanting. So we're missing something. There's a lack, right? There's a lack. We think we will be complete only when we have that thing we are chasing. We are wanting so much. The very word wanting. Right? When we realize our wholeness, that we are already complete, there's nothing to be done in actuality. Then we are in our power. And the more we are in this kind of power, this true power, the more joyful we are. We naturally, spontaneously are. We can laugh easily and joyously. Like little children, accept that this kind of innocence and joy is based on wisdom and higher intelligence. Do you have any questions? Otherwise, I would say return to the purity and innocence of who you are, the invincibility and grace, the peace and power that are altogether you. And to practice joy. One of the messages that I like to share with the world is that being love, peace, and joy is a lot easier than it's made out to be. And that's partly why I created the Journey Home, so that I can share this with more people. We're only at the start of it with 20 members. It will grow as it's meant to grow. I'm not attached to that either. I was when I first started. I asked inner guidance as to exact numbers. I think they must have had a good laugh. And now it's like, whatever. I only need to show up every day. I only need to come from soul and spirit every day. I only need to expand the invincible love that I am every day. More and more. And be true joy. Okay, there's more. I always find more. Okay. Well, doesn't matter, Christina. I think if you get it first, right? And then magic can happen. Okay? Yes, Rajni. I'm so grateful for you and how you are so enthusiastic always. So excited. You make me very happy. Simplicity, yeah. Simplicity is both beautiful and it's powerful because you're not needing so much outside of yourself, because you're also going home to all the treasures that are already there within you. They're there, you know. And if we can, like going to an orchard with ripe fruit, if we can pluck the fruits every day, there's no lack. And we can still create. And if something doesn't work, we create again and again. And we enjoy creating. It's the fun of creating, I mean, just a short while ago, a few months ago, I didn't have a revamped website. I wasn't planning on revamping my website. I wasn't planning on creating the journey home, and suddenly it just all materialized, and suddenly I'm making myself do Facebook Live. I think it's fun, you know. No questions, beautiful people? Oh, there's more. Okay. Thank you. um, well, in the fourth dimension, you're not quite on the fifth, so it's not quite heaven and earth. Um, you're in between, and it could be purgatory, you think? Why would you want to be there, Stephanie, when you can be on 5D? You don't have to even stop by 4D at all. What do you think? You can write, you can reply back to me, and I'll see how I can respond. Okay. Yes, Christina, I understand. And you're both working through some things. You're both probably coming from ego, which is okay. Don't judge that. Um, you need to lead him. You need to rise up and go to a higher level. When you can, he will feel safer in the first place. He will feel less threatened. He will, you would be giving freedom to him to be him. And so you'd be giving him the space to breathe. And it's only when you give him that space that he can rise up. Does that make sense to you? So the onus is on you. He has his own version of being conscious. He's not in many ways you're very blessed. It's not that he's totally unconscious at all. He gets a lot of things, but he is also letting go of his old programmings, just as you are. And you need to take the lead. You need to, in some cases, he is in many ways taking the lead too, but in most, you need to take the lead, and you need to rise up even further. And I have all faith in you to do that. Okay. Oh, okay. It's there. Thank you. Okay, Stephanie. Stephanie, I don't know the details of yours. With Christina, they are actually happily married. Um, just that, lately there are issues um, because challenges have come up because they're meant to come up. It's actually they're gifts, they're opportunities for them to both to rise up, for them to take their relationship to completely new level. Okay, in your case, from what from the little you have shared, um, I'm not. You mentioned a repeated pattern, so I'm not sure if this person is meant to be in your life or not. Okay, we need to explore that. If he is, then yeah, you can work through stuff, right? And you will have to lead as well. Yeah. Okay, there's more. Christina, that's just an idea you have in your head. He will lead in his own way. Okay, and he does. I mean, some of the things you mentioned before, he does. Okay, and he will lead at some point. You will co-lead. No, it doesn't have to be one lead the other. You take turns, right? Or you lead together. You support each other. You're there for each other. But right now you have to, right? You've done this work. He hasn't. He's out there, in the 3D world. He needs to be able to. There's a method to this, seeming divine madness, right? He's out there in this 3D world, making it for his family, which isn't always easy. And he needs to be a certain way at this time. Things will change, right? So don't be fixated on how you want things to be. It will change. Move with the changes. Right now it's this, so accept this and rise up yourself. And when I say take the lead, it's not you telling him what to do. When you are at a certain level, he will see it. You will relate with him in a different way, and he will love you for it. He will be so grateful and so appreciative. Okay, and he will follow suit as well. Hi, Virginia. Responsibility of a parent with the older children. Okay, let me finish with Christina first. Morning, Virginia. It's nighttime here. Um, yes, yes, that's correct, Christina. You rise up. You give him more space. You give him more face as well, as we have talked about before, and then he will lead. As well. Okay. Rajni, I'm not sure what you mean. Responsibility of a parent with the older children. Let go a lot. You're being asked by whom? just that the situation is asking you to let go. Do you have a problem of letting go? Are you afraid that the child may make the wrong decisions? Are you concerned that you are then being irresponsible? I don't know enough to say more. Okay, there's more questions. Okay, Christina. Rajni, I forgot what question I asked. What are you saying yes to? You have to remind me. With Stephanie, yeah, well, nobody likes to be preached to, especially men. Well, it's not easy to be unconditional, Stephanie. I mean, your human self is gonna get, you would have programmings also where your human self is gonna get upset, right? Or feel that you're not being loved or supported in some way, or loved and honored in some way. Yes, yes. And I don't know, is he someone, Stephanie, who's supporting you, or as in Christina's husband, if he's not supposed to supporting you, but focus on survival and financial, well, a lot of people are, um, the fact is we have bills to pay. We are in a world where money is still part of our life. The thing is that if I go back to what I said earlier, if we access the invincibility that we are, the greatness, the true power, the magnificence, the spirit, the soul, the consciousness that we are, then we will find ways in which we can create and manifest the money that we need. And we can even do it in a way where, like with me, to have a conscious business, to combine what is soul purpose and soul calling with monetary needs. Not everyone's going to be doing that. I mean, he probably is not in that space, but he and a whole bunch of other people can learn to step into and come from soul and consciousness and create or materialize what we need financially in such a way that we are doing what we love, and in such a way where we're not just coming from fear and survival. So the phrase really, as always, is rise and thrive. The more we can rise, the more we can thrive. Our idea of thriving may be different. It will change. We then perhaps not talking about, the flashy house or fancy house and fancy car and so on. Or we can have even that. Not flashy, but maybe, something that's, really rather, I don't want to call it luxurious, but where it's beautiful, right? And you can have a beautiful home and a lovely car and so on. All the material abundance. There's totally nothing wrong with that. It's not about going without at all. The idea is to materialize it from within, not from fear, not from old programmings, not from a scarcity consciousness, not from ideas of lack that we must have such and such in order to feel great about ourselves. No, it's different. It's a whole new ball game. So, Stephanie, as I wrote to you before, the invitation is there. Do join us. It's a gift for you, for everyone. There's so much that I'm sharing and so much that I can facilitate for you if you're open. So the choice is yours, of course. Okay. Well, is there a match then? Stephanie, if there isn't a match, then why bother, right? Then you have to work on you. You have to work on your own programmings and look at what you want to materialize differently in future, right? I mean, you have a certain pattern, so you would draw a certain programming and you would draw a certain person that matches that patterning or that program, right? So it's you that you need to look at rather than him. Okay, back to you, Rajni. Well, Rajni, since I don't know the detail of it, what is it making you feel? Is it making you feel irresponsible, or is it making you feel concerned, or even more than concerned? Are you worried? Are you afraid that, okay, if it feels right, follow that feeling, darling. Okay, then you just have to handle your fear, okay? And you go within yourself and look at where that fear is stemming from, right? The source of it. Okay, we can do that at future journey home sessions, yeah? You're most welcome, Stephanie. Stephanie, it's about you coming into your own power, okay? When we don't make it about the person or the situation or the event or the circumstances outside of ourselves, but we take it back to ourselves, then we are in our power. There's something we can do about it. We take responsibility for what is showing up in our lives. And when we do that, we can shift everything, and it can be really fast. Like with this woman in UK, it was really fast. Like after the first session, okay, this was a one-on-one session, and we had an in-depth session of like, I think, 2 to 3 hours, and but we cleared everything that was in the way. I do want to say this at this point. It's not about clearing forever. That is an old idea. That you need to clear, forever and clear layer upon layer. You don't. You really, really don't. You clear what's coming up at this time that is creating the situation you are currently in, and that's it. The rest is about stepping into soul and spirit and being soul and spirit first and foremost. Shifting your identity to being soul and spirit first and foremost. That makes all the difference in the world. That gives you that true joy. It connects you instantly with that river of bliss that is you. It's an endless river of bliss. I think inexhaustible is the word. Okay, that means your joy is also endless. It also means that as it flows forth from you and fountains from you, it also creates abundance for you, abundance of all kinds. Okay, and the joy expands, the joy grows. Okay? So come, Stephanie, don't waste time. Okay, oh, there's more. I'm always delighted when I see there's more. You're most welcome, Rajni. Stephanie, he can be a love in a past life. Okay, he was poor then. That's possible, very possible. Okay. Okay, that's okay. You can ask me. What's the time though? Okay, I'm. It can, yeah. Only if he can go beyond, certain things, and you too. Okay. Yes, that river of bliss is within everyone. Yes. I'm not sure which one you're referring to, Rajni. Are you referring to the journey home, or what are you referring to? I just said yes. But the real gifts are within us, and I created the journey home to support everyone to access those gifts, to access that river of bliss. Okay? And you can have all that you want, the relationship, the money, everything, But first of all, you have to have you, the real you. And then the rest follows. The rest are not half as important. Okay, beautiful people, there's more. Yes, the river of bliss. Yes, totally, Rajni. Okay, my beautiful friends. If there's nothing else, I shall say good night. And I send you much joy and much love. So I wanted to speak about joy because I spoke about gratitude last month when it was Thanksgiving, and this month it's Christmas. But really, you can have joy all year round, right? if your soul and spirit, you can have love, peace, and joy all year round, anytime. And as I mentioned earlier, when other emotions that arise, which are not of love, it's okay. It's only the periphery. At the core, you are love, you are joy, and you are peace, and your abundance as well. Okay? And sometimes we forget that, we're in this human form, right? That's wonderful to hear, Virginia. Wonderful. Yes, yes. Yes, wonderful. With regard to your comments, Virginia, and also Christina, I totally believe in you, Christina, and um, look forward to um, creating many wonderful things uh, for the world with you. You know what I mean, right? So you only need to go through this period, and then next year, let's see what we can already create together. Um, why is it only your intention, Sachi? Why isn't it who you are? Is it difficult at the moment so that joy is like the future rather than the present? Well, you can listen to the replay. We can go through challenges and still be able to access that river of bliss simply by stepping into soul and consciousness and being the divinity that we are. And then the joy comes spontaneously. Okay, beautiful people. If there's no more questions, I do want to say that we have a session, two sessions, one for, they're for different time zones. One is on the 27th, and the other is on it's the 30th in the US, and it's the 31st here in Singapore. So yeah, I also have a one-on-one session with a member on Christmas Eve. So I'll be working Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and I'm happy about it. Can you beat that? It's because I love what I do. It is my joy most of the time. Okay, Sachi, I understand. Do you step into soul and experience soul regularly? do you need to go beyond any pain of any sort? Yeah, I guess. Okay, I understand. So currently, it's not accessible, but that's what you want, or that's what you intend. Okay. Spend more time in soul and in consciousness, and then joy is yours much faster. Okay, even before you transcend the challenge, joy can be yours already. Okay. Okay, Christina. See you soon. Lots of love. All right, everyone. I hope to also. There's one more thing I want to say. Other than the sessions at the end of the month, which you can attend if you sign up now with our Journey Home membership program, and I will encourage you also to do so before the end of the year, because I'll be raising fees, not a whole lot, but a little bit, on January 1st. When I say not a whole lot, it's not a lot compared to my one-on-one fees, which I've had for many years. But I'm keeping it low so that more people can join us, but still it's going to be a little bit higher. So take a look, or ask me questions, or send me an email. Okay. All right, everyone. Lots of love, and speak to you soon.